It's okay. I think I messed it up.
Take two. Okay. Ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's go back a few years, back to 2400 BC, the 5th dynasty of Egypt. This is how far back clowns go. Back then, though, they weren't called clowns, but they had the same creepy types of outfits. It wasn't until the 1600s that they gained the title of clown. For the entire time that clowns have been around, there have been a deep, festering fear. Some think the fear stems from not being able to read genuine emotion on the clown's face. When you take away one's ability to read someone's expression, it's very disturbing because you can't tell what they're feeling. Another reason for the fear is their makeup. They don't exactly look human. Clowns' exaggerated facial features create uncertainty. One more reason for the fear is that dickhead John Wayne Gacy. He was convicted of 33 murders and got capital punishment pokes in May of 1994. The Killer Clown. For 2 children in Sandown, England, they got an entirely different dose of clown phobia. In May of 1973, 2 children, one going by the alias of Faye and the other unnamed, experienced one of the strangest creatures, being of strange appearance, strange speech, and perhaps one of the strangest stories in history. This is the story of Sam the Sandown Clown.
Hello there, friends, and welcome to the Paranatural Podcast. My name is Ben.
And I'm one of the chipmunks from Elvin and the Chipmunks.
He's Theodore. He's Jake. And we are so glad to have you with us tonight as we talk about a strange little case of some kids and a clown, Sam the Sandown Clown. Jacob, how you doing today, brother?
Well, I gotta call you out.
What's that?
You said tonight we're gonna be...
It is full fucking day. It's what...
I think it's still morning.
It is almost noon.
I think this is the earliest we've ever done a show.
It is the early. We usually do these at night, which is where that came from. But
yeah, this is the second episode in a row I get to look at your face
I know,
in person.
Right? It's kind of fun.
It is.
Better than over Zoom.
I know, it's like a conversation now.
And we're gonna have some video stuff. Hi,
hello
out there in listener land.
In what?
Listener land.
Oh, hello. Oh, they have an accent there.
Some of them do. We get plenty of listens from the UK, don't we?
Well, they should be telling this story then.
It's probably fair. They could probably do it better than we do.
Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Without the H.
Without the H.
Well, I mean, there's an H. W-I-G-H-T.
That is how spelling works.
Where?
Hey, all right, God damn it.
We're on video.
We are on video.
Hello.
And apparently we're just as bad at that as we are at regular podcasting.
How are you doing?
All right, Jacob, tell us about a, I don't know, can we call him a spooky clown or?
Odd.
It's odd. Odd is a good word. Odd is a great word for it.
This is definitely one of the strangest stories I've come across, and it's not all that scary, but it is
odd.
Fucking odd.
Fucking odd.
Yeah. So, let me put these on because Demon stole my eyes.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
What?
Dildo.
You made me watch that.
I did. I did make you watch that.
So Dildo stole my eyes.
He stole my will to live.
He stole my will to enjoy documentaries again.
That's real.
Okay. In May of 1973, in the late afternoon, 2 children were exploring the hills of Shanklin and Sandown Golf Club. Their true names are unknown, but one goes...
Shankland?
Yeah.
That is a very fitting name for a golf club.
Shanklin.
Shank it. Oh, there. Blame it on the name. Anyway.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I just noticed all these video people are going to be seeing me
Yeah, they're
read
just
my
going to be
notes
watching
and
you.
stroking my little
Yeah.
beard.
Pretty much.
This is my beard, everyone. It's longer than it looks.
Yeah, okay,
It's a grower, not a shower.
You keep telling her that.
I will.
All right.
Eventually, she'll believe me, or I get tired of arguing. So the true names, they're completely unknown. One goes by Faye, and the other, we're going to go with a gender-neutral name, Bob.
And remember, Bob spelled backwards is Bob.
Oh, what's that called? Starts with a P. Palindrome.
There you go.
I have odd facts, too.
Which, oddly enough, is not a palindrome.
I know,
I feel like they missed a golden opportunity there.
but race car is.
Yes, it is. So is Taco Cat.
So is Hannah, if it's got an H on the end. So yeah, Bob. Palindrome. The area they were exploring were the outskirts of Sandown, located in the Isle of Wight's east coast. While exploring the beautiful rolling hills, they heard a strange monotone siren type of noise. Of course, they went to check it out. We wouldn't have an episode if they didn't check it out. Going on the search of the source of the noise, they made their way to a small bridge where the siren noise suddenly ceased and a strange entity emerged from underneath a bridge. Not a drain thing on the road, you know?
Just under a bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Red Hot Chili Pepper song.
And when you're down here with me, you float down!
I forgot that was out in there until just now.
Tim Curry.
Oh, what a fucking legend.
Yep. So he comes from out underneath the bridge, Red Hot Chili Pepper style. The entity was nearly how tall?
I'm going to guess, just because it's the Paranatural Podcast, 7 feet?
Holy fucking balls! you're
Ah,
right.
damn her. We got her, bud. Nailed her. One try.
Yeah.
First take.
Yeah, we just need a Mount Shasta clown,
12-foot tall clown.
12-foot tall.
Nahani Valley clown.
Nahani. Yeah. So other than also being nearly 7 feet tall, they say over 2 meters. Which, yeah.
In freedom units, that's like 6 feet.
Well, they said over.
Over 2, but
Well, so I did some digging, and then that's where I come across the almost 7 feet.
gotcha.
It also lacked a neck, so instead it had its head erect straight from its shoulders.
That sounds uncomfortable.
Well, it probably is. He's probably a grower too. The entity appeared to sport a green tunic of sorts, a red collar around his neck. He's a pet clown. And a pointed yellow cowl with wooden antennas. The creature's facial features consisted of dark triangular eyes, a brown square-shaped nose, and yellow oval lips. It also had red rosy cheeks and brownish red hair that emerged from the yellow cowl. And I didn't write this down because it's stuck in my head. He had a little curly cute coming out.
Oh, he had like a Superman curl?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I know. So cute.
Awesome.
He also was wearing, I keep calling him he, but I write it. You're going to find out eventually it's a he-ish thing. They, them.
Yes.
He had dark blue gloves and nothing on his feet. But one of the weird things, another weird thing, is on his hands and feet, he only had 3 digits on each one.
That's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, tell some people that because I'm sure you just hurt their feelings.
I just did tell some people that.
Well, I hope the right people watch and they are offended.
And I bet they wish they had all 5.
Probably.
Alien hands.
Alien
hands. You can do a lot with 3.
It only takes... Look at that.
But,
I'm giving him the finger and drinking.
Live on video.
This isn't brought to you by Monster, but have one. They're great. Now, before I get more into the detail of the children's encounter with the tall fella, I'd like to note a few strange happenings that happened October 20th, 1970, and another date. So October 20th, a man going by the name of Mr. Y, we should give him a name too.
Nigel.
Yeah.
That's a good British name.
You're so racist.
British is not a race.
You're so regionist.
I'll give you that one.
Okay. Nigel. Nigel was driving along a river near the golf club when he saw what he describes as a large multicolored spacecraft that was extremely illuminated, that was flying pretty low over a marshy part of the river. He pulled over to watch the craft and reported it as, quote, a wide ring of 7 or more lights. Each light could be seen as well as a well-defined sphere of mostly red like a bright cherry, end quote. The craft emitted absolutely no noise. He got back in his car to nope the fuck out, and the craft began to fly like parallel with him. And Nigel said eventually it was flying about 300 yards behind his car, and it was also slowly rotating, which it must have been quite big if he can see it that clearly from 300 yards at night.
I mean, how rural of an area are we talking?
I mean, it's a golf course. They have good acreage, and then it's river, and then I don't know. The way I picture it, there's trees and like all that stuff.
Yeah, sure, but the ambient light from a surrounding city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's outskirts. So
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I don't know how big of a city or town we're talking about here.
Yeah. I don't know. But 300 yards is...
Because I feel like, even here in my little town at night, I can see quite a bit in the sky. Like, just because of the ambient light that...
That's, yeah, I guess so. So he said it was slowly rotating, and he decided to stop again and got a flare out of his vehicle and attempted to communicate with the flare, or with the spacecraft using the flare as a type of Morse code. So taking it ...
So there's another story in which someone uses a flashlight and tries to speak in Morse code to a UFO. And we'll cover that later, but it didn't turn out so good for these people.
Is this the, which one is this? Not Pascagoula. But it was like a fishing story, wasn't it?
No.
Oh.
It was a camping and hiking story. And I would never use a flare to try and communicate with a UFO.
Burn the fuck out of your hand.
Because all you're going to get is a bunch of woo! And what's the alien supposed to do with that? Moving
I
on.
don't know. That was awful.
Ric Flair joke. Fuck you.
Sorry, guys. And I can actually apologize and look at him.
And look him right in the eye.
I'm sorry for him.
I'm not sorry at all. That joke was hilarious.
Woo!
Woo!
I can't wait until we get to do a Macho Man Randy Savage one.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, brother. It was unclear of what he was trying to say, but experts assume he was asking for a road beer. It's me. I'm the expert. when he didn't receive his roadie, he began to think this must be pure evil that he's dealing with to not give him even a single road beer. So he hopped back in his car, got scared, and once again, noped the fuck out without a brew. He drove over to his friend's house. This story was released by Bufora. That's the British Unidentified Flying Object Research Association.
That's a good acronym.
Acronym, according to Futurama, is a criminal regiment of nasty
Young
men.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go. Nailed it.
Like the coffin.
And you were mad about my Ric Flair joke.
I wasn't mad. I was disappointed.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just highly disappointed.
I feel like it doesn't have the same effect like if a grandma said it to you.
Yeah, it's real.
Okay. 2 years later, I guess a year and a half, March 1st, 1972, the same motherfucker, Mr. Y, Nigel Billingsley, I bet.
Billingsley doesn't start with a Y.
It's an alias.
Oh.
He could have been going by Stevie Weiserman.
Nigel Wentworth.
Wentworth?
The third.
Way to make him sound bougie. He was sitting on the cliffside at Compton Bay, also in the Isle of Wight, when he saw two yellow lights 40 yards away from... He is damn good at, like, distancing. 300 yards. That one's 40 yards. That one's 67.2 yards. Or do you think they're going meters?
You're the one that...
I wrote the story.
Yeah, you wrote the thing, so you should know.
I don't pay attention.
And what's the difference between a yard and a meter? It's
like
not a lot, right?
0.06.
Right.
Meters bigger, a little bit bigger.
So you take your pick.
We're going yards.
All right.
Freedom units.
That'd be feet.
A yard is 3 feet.
But it's... Anyway.
It's an American measurement.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Good. Because your phone's up there. You can't look it
Yeah,
up. So
damn
I'm
right. We're recording on mine, so I can't
That's
prove
right.
you wrong.
Because I'm right.
So I'll just take your word for it.
All right. So the two yellow lights were just under the surface of the water. He described them as, quote, peering up at me like some horrible sea monster, unquote.
That was a belch right into the microphone.
I turned my head. I apologize for my belchetry. But it happens when you drink delicious white pineapple monster that is now discontinued. He said he was stuck in some sort of trance while staring at these lights. As the tide began to recede, the lights as well receded with it. When the lights were gone, he realized that he had lost 2 hours of time. I said it before and I'll say it again. If you're watching the tide, like, if you're watching something, time can fly by without you knowing. Easy. I've done it with the tide. When I was on the boat, like, hours can pass without... I'm a sucker for scenery.
I don't feel like I could stare at anything
I know, but you got issues.
for that long.
If we have any therapists listening...
Like, I certainly wouldn't be feeling like I lost 2 hours. I would feel like every 30 seconds is 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, again, any therapist out there listening, how about a free consultation? Now for the real kicker. Nigel Billingsley Wentworth III
There it is. Nailed it.
is the children's father.
Ooh.
So, just since I said that, I'm going to say What was that?
That's pushing buttons.
Why?
Because I want to.
Okay.
They're my buttons.
Our buttons. It's a podcast that we do together. Okay. So yeah, since I said that he's their father, Nigel Wentworth Billingsley the third, vice versa. He wonder what his dad's name was. I'm gonna say like three things that popped into my head when I read that he was the father. So, one, he could have told his kids and they could just be making this whole fucking thing up. I mean, I probably would have been prone to doing the same as 7-year-old kid.
That's fair.
Another thing that popped in my noggin is I have heard a lot of stories where basically experiences are hereditary.
Yes. Also fair.
And then the third thing is, what if that was like Sam before he landed? Or like he was landing in 1970, then he was, I mean, obviously he's not afraid of water since he was under a bridge when they first encountered him. So maybe he was in the water. Could be Sam's been living there for a while and, you know, maybe more people have encountered him, just afraid to come forward about it.
Could be. I mean,
it's a weird fucking story.
We aren't even to the weird part yet.
Oh, no. No,
So?
I'm like, yeah, okay. So let's get to the weird part. Back to Fan Bob. 7 years old.
Both of them?
Yeah,
Were they twins?
I'm assuming so.
I guess. Yeah,
They're
they have to
siblings.
be if they're, yeah, okay.
They had just seen this odd-looking fellow that I described. The entity was apparently startled by the children and dropped a book it was carrying into the stream. It reached down, retrieving the now soaking wet book, and noped the fuck away from the kids. In an odd sort of fashion. We're going to be using that word a lot, odd. It fled away in a series of bounding hops, as though there was much lower gravity. Like, I pictured that when I was reading it, and like, I feel like he did like,
Yeah, like a moon
boing.
bounce.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, so the first time you said it, well, before you said, you know, lower gravity. Once you say lower gravity, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But before that, I imagine like the Easter Bunny. I can't.
Yeah. It fled to what appeared to be a windowless metal shed and returned with a small microphone-type device. After a brief return of the siren noise, and they think it was like experts, not me, assume that it's microphone feedback, which that's a loud-ass feedback.
And I wouldn't exactly ever describe feedback as a siren noise.
Yeah, and yeah.
That's just an odd way to describe audio feedback.
Yeah.
You'd say a screeching noise or a whistling noise, maybe.
Or even a crackle.
A squealing noise, a crackling noise.
But
I
never a
don't
siren.
think siren.
No, I always think like the tornado sirens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're a bit lower pitched,
Mm-hmm.
longer lasting.
Yeah, and like that's definitely a good indication to like get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, but to describe mic feedback as a siren sound, that's weird.
Maybe the experts aren't so expert. The entity began speaking to the children, and they kind of calmed down. I guess 7-year-olds are a bit more trusting and brave than adults. They began to approach it, and they couldn't understand what it was saying at first. I don't know if it was like a different language or like
Shitty speaker.
Shitty speaker, very shitty speaker.
I don't know.
But it got to the point where he wrote a message down for him. And the message read, "Hello, and I am all colors Sam."
That's a strange way to introduce yourself.
He is not confined by race. I mean, he got like a whole bunch of different colors on his face.
Yeah.
The kids later described the creature's manner of speaking as stilted, as though it were trying to put on a ventriloquist act or trying to talk through some stuffy mask. Faye asked Sam, as he introduced himself, she asked if he was human, to which Sam denied. She then asked if he was a ghost, to which he replied, "Well, not really, but I am, in an odd sort of way."
That response is so frustrating.
Yeah, it's like
it's so vague, and it's such a not answer.
it's like when someone asks you what you want to eat and you're like, you're like, I don't know, anything's good, but don't get this, maybe this, I don't know.
No, it's more like if they ask you what you want to eat and your reply is, or if you're hungry and your reply is, well, I am, but I'm not, in an odd sort of way. You could say of us that, yes, we are ghosts in an odd sort of way. Like we have ghosts in us.
Technically.
Theoretically speaking, whatever. But that is such a non-answer. It drives me insane.
Well, like everything he says in this, it's like, what the fuck
it's
could that
vague
mean?
And it's mysterious and it's puzzling and it's frustrating.
Oh, you just wait until the other things he says.
Oh, I know.
You know.
Yeah, I've heard this story before. This is not one of my stuck in my memory detail by detail stories, but I have heard it before.
Yeah. Well, prepare to get more frustrated. Sam began to explain that he had no true name despite calling himself Sam, and that others like him existed on Earth. He expressed a fear of humans, specifically a fear that humans would attack him if he were discovered. The seemingly friendly figure then invited Faye and Bob into his hut. The hut's first floor consisted of nothing but an electric heater, wooden furniture. Sam told... You think he had plugins in there?
I mean, he would have had to run an electric heater, right?
Or a generator?
Yeah. But electricity of some sort.
Yeah, I guess. I almost wish older kids who understand that stuff would have witnessed it. Sam told the children, in addition to his hut, he had a secret campsite, and he did not disclose that location. Sam then removed his hat, placed a berry in his ear, and lunged forward to cause the berry to reappear in his eye socket before doing so again to get it into his mouth. For the next half hour, the two children... Before I continue, what a fucking weird way to eat.
I can think of much more efficient ways to consume a berry.
Yeah, like, I don't know if he was doing that to like a parlor trick.
Yeah, magic trick is kind of what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah. Like, I guess kids at that age would be like, oh, cool, wow, let me stick a fucking berry in my ear.
The description is still weird, especially when you combine it with what's her name saying it was like he spoke through a stuffy mask.
Faye.
So is that what he's wearing? And is that how he's like doing the trick? Like he puts it in the mask's ear hole and rolls it around to the front. It pops out the mask's eye hole.
I'm going to post some pictures of this thing.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen it.
Yes. And even from, in my opinion, from the pictures I've seen, mask is not out of the realm of possibilities. In fact, the way it was depicted, if I remember correctly, it looks rather wooden even.
Yeah, especially with like the facial features.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But that still doesn't get past the 3 digits or the odd way of running away.
No, absolutely not.
Or the speaking. That's so
it makes
fucking
me
weird.
wonder more, though, what's under the mask.
He's a skeleton.
I mean, that would kind of be a ghost, not a ghost, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Like reanimated corpse. Oh, God, he's a zombie.
He's a fucking zombie. Sam, the
Dex.
Sandown zombie.
Sam the Walking Dead.
Goodness. Sam got scary.
Dex.
So for the next half hour, the two children conversed with Sam, asking him questions, only to receive only very, very vague answers in return. This dick would be like, they would ask him a question and be like, you know. That's what he would say.
You know.
Fucking butt.
You know.
Eventually, they left and raced home to tell others, or to tell someone what they had just encountered. Encountering the golf course's groundskeeper, they told him their tale, but he laughed it off as overactive imagination. Disheartened by the groundskeeper's reaction, Faye waited several weeks to tell her father, but after exploring the area in which the incident occurred, they found no trace of the metal hut or Sam. Now, I'm going to get into a lot more of what happened.
So, maybe you said this and I just missed it. But did it mention how far away from the golf course proper this bridge and Sam's little shack was?
It didn't, but it didn't seem like that far. I think it was actually on the golf course because they were talking to the groundskeeper.
Right. And that's weird.
Well,
why wouldn't anybody else run into him? It's not like golf courses are so remote or unpeopled.
So, I'm going to get into this. Their father had quite a good explanation.
Okay.
So I want to get back into his appearance just because. So he's nearly 7 feet tall, and he had more or less human-like proportions, 2 arms, 2 legs, and a roundish head. The similarities to humans really stop there, though. They described his head as being too large for his thin frame.
Haha. Shots fired. Big head.
You're so mean. He was shit talking skinwalkers last night. John Belushi's.
Yoshi's.
Yoshi's. I'm surprised we didn't get eaten by one last night.
Maybe they were busy.
Probably
I'm a little
eating someone
offended.
else.
I'm eatable.
Yoshi Belushi.
Anyway.
Say it 3 times in the mirror. Candy man will come. And the head was actually nearly a perfect sphere. Its skin was very white and had the consistency of paper, while its hands and feet only possessed the 3 digits on them, and its face seemed to have been crudely painted onto the surface of its head. 2 blue triangles for eyes, a flat brown rectangular nose, and its mouth had thin yellow lips shaped like an oval, which never moved when it spoke or ate.
Boom.
Yep. Its hair hung down from its hat in sparse, frizzled, reddish-brown strands and 2 wooden antennae.
What good do you suppose wooden antennae would do?
Fuck if I mean, maybe it just looked wood.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just stuck right out of the side of its head where you would imagine they would be. Well, more wooden slat-like antennae extended from its wrists and ankles. That part made me think like dummy-like.
Yeah, kind of like puppet poles like the
Yeah.
Muppets have where you move their hands.
Yeah, and like if you think about it, that could be like the bounding low gravity steps.
You also, so this just kind of clicked. His head was too big for his frame. You know who else has real big heads for their frame?
Muppets.
Dummies.
Yeah.
Ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah.
Or if you are wearing a
Helmet mask thing.
Yeah, that was a great way to put it. Actually, a helmet mask thing.
Yeah.
It would also enlarge the size of your head in comparison to the rest of you.
Oh yeah, you ever put on a mask? Like it's
unless they're more Hollywood style, but like the old school ones or what have you.
Yeah,
but especially if it was like a carved out of wood type of mask or something, or like you said, a helmet type mask.
Yeah.
Wow. What's under that mask, Sam?
The world may never know. Takes 3 licks, everyone, in case you ever encounter this thing.
No. Do not lick the alien, maybe a ghost monster thing. Please do. Paranatural PSA. Paranatural PSA. If you encounter the spookies, do not lick them.
Unless it's spooky toads.
No,
then you'll have fun.
Not even spooky toads.
It seemed to be wearing a clown costume, which consisted of a tall pointed hat with a black knob or bauble at the top, a high-collared suit of red and green, to which the hat at first was attached, but then later removed to show his white and apparently balding scalp.
Hey, watch it.
Well, like, so if it is a mask, they took great detail to it.
Apparently. Then again, you're seeing through the eyes of a child.
Right, yeah. It wore dark blue gloves, like I said, and its feet were bare. The suit's trousers and sleeves were long and frilly, super clown-like. Whether the
pirate-like.
He was an undead pirate?
He was a zombie pirate in a clown mask. Jester-like.
Hollywood needs...
Oh. Zombie jester.
Shit. Hollywood needs to hear this.
Fucking A right. We're going to make a movie.
Yeah. Whether the wooden antennae were part of the costume or part of the being's body is unknown. Then this I liked a little bit better, even though I can't really pronounce that word. It was also carrying a microphone or tannoy like device system through which it spoke, and which is believed to be the source of the siren like ambulance-ish noise heard by the kids. The 2-story hut and or shack in the wooded area close to the lake. I mean, I guess we can like Google map this and figure out how far away it is.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, pull out your phone.
Dick.
At least I have a dick, you dumb girl.
Wow. Wow.
All right, calm down, Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Whose walls were papered with blue-green dial patterns and whose floor was metallic. The hut also contained rough wooden furniture, which was described as being similar to a table and a set of chairs. The clown being's demeanor seemed shy but friendly. It told the children it was frightened of humans and would not defend itself if it were attacked.
So everything about the physical descriptions in this story makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
Right.
What exactly is wallpapered with blue dials? What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
Why would your little scrap sheet metal shack have a also metal floor?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was a TARDIS.
A TARDIS?
Yeah.
Whoa. Come on, buddy.
Wow.
Meow.
Doctor Who.
Describe what a TARDIS is.
It's Doctor Who's... I don't know. I've never actually seen Doctor Who. I just know what a TARDIS is. It's a phone booth that's bigger on the inside. It's a time-traveling device that can take on various shapes on the outside. Wow.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, he wouldn't defend himself if he were attacked.
Prime directive.
And it claimed to drink water from the stream after cleansing it.
Probably smart.
Yeah, like, I don't know if he filtered it or boiled it, whatever. And then he gathered berries to eat. And of course, ate them in his very odd fashion by thrusting his head forward and somehow moving the berries back and forth between his eyes, then his mouth, which I don't understand the mouth thing because they said it never moved. It never opened.
I mean, it might have been slightly agape always.
Maybe. But they did say like a thin oval. Then it could write in English using a pencil and paper. Upon being asked, it told the little girl that its name was Sam. Yeah. All other questions about what it might be were answered solely with "you know." And at this point, I personally would have like shat my pants and fucked the nope out of there. I did that on purpose. But, Faye and Bob stuck in the area and wandered about 50 yards away from the bridge when the figure appeared once again with the microphone. So 50 yards away from the bridge. Apparently Bob, seeing it come back, took the fuck off. Like he ran away.
That's an odd reaction.
Why?
Because he didn't run the first time.
That is odd. I don't know. The way it sounded, though, is like when it came out, it just like took off. It dropped its notebook and ran. So like, I don't know.
But wait a minute. So you started back over at the beginning.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so they have not been inside yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a little messed up with our timeline there.
Yeah. So like, I found a bunch more details.
Gotcha.
So
All
I
right.
wanted to go back around and.
Gotcha.
I guess I was lazy with my notes. So when he came back, the siren noise, they think that might have spooked Bob.
Mm-hmm.
So once it stopped with the noise, he turned off, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not scared anymore." When they were right by him and not saying anything, they heard his voice ask, as if directly in their ears, "Hello, are you still there?" He was right next to him, and he asked that
I thought they were like 50 yards away.
when they came back to him.
Okay. What? Weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. They weren't like hiding, like peeping through a bush or something.
No.
They just walked up to him and he's like, "Hello, are you still there?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Strange.
So the reason they, were okay with him is they said his voice sounded friendly. And
So did Ted Bundy's. Anyway,
so did Voldemort's.
not so much.
What? His voice wasn't that bad.
When he was Tom Riddle.
Either one.
Anyway.
Blah, 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 more blah. Okay. So, Faye and Bob's conversation with the figure was strange, to say the least. Odd.
Odd. Very, very odd.
Indubitably. As they approached with hesitation, the figure pulled out his notebook. That's where he wrote it. "Hello, and I am all colors Sam." And there's the U in the colors.
Right.
Faye read it out loud, and they kept moving closer to him until they were like childlike distance away. They don't give you a bubble.
That's real.
Yeah. So they said that his lips not moving when he spoke made his voice difficult to understand. So I guess it is coming from him. They asked about his clothes because apparently they were like torn up the way I thought about that is like, apparently he's been living in the wilderness, gathering berries. A lot of berries have thorns.
Yeah.
So that could have been it.
There's also, though, that clown style with the oversized, tattered clothes.
Yeah.
So I'd take your pick which one that might be.
I guess so, yeah. So when they asked if he was a ghost and he said, well, not really, but in an odd sort of way I am, the children asked, what are you then? And then he said, you know.
No, Sam, we don't know. We don't fucking know, bud.
So one of the drawings that is on the Bufora website is actually drawn by Faye.
I probably have seen it.
I think that's the one I have saved. I'm still baffled that like he wouldn't defend himself or fight back. Like he just like die and be dissected.
It's, I don't know. That's I guess the only way to answer that question is, what is he?
Exactly. Like if he's a puppet, then I don't know, because like there's so many possibilities and none of it makes sense. Like he could be anything from like a supernatural conjured up puppet thing, or he could be a creeper in a real weird outfit
costume.
Yeah,
could be a demon of some sort.
Yeah, there's so many
or
things.
Not, maybe not demon, but
entity,
a spiritual entity in a costume. An extraterrestrial entity in a costume. Maybe it's an extraterrestrial. It just fucking looks that way. There's so many possibilities and so few answers.
Another thing is like he could be an extraterrestrial in an outfit and like maybe put like the face type thing on there so it would look more like humans. Like
you take like an extraterrestrial, they've been studying humanity and they went, oh, hey, these clown things, everybody loves them and they think they're friendly. And by that, when I said that's the prime directive, not to harm people, that could be something that they're like not allowed to do.
Yeah, and like just
straight not allowed. They are, under whatever rule.
And just to like look friendlier.
Or not to harm humans, period, dot.
Yeah.
It's like the robot laws? From iRobot and whatever.
Yeah.
You cannot harm a human no matter what.
Yeah, and then isn't there one that they can defend themselves?
No.
Are you sure?
And the robot law thing, it is straight up, you cannot harm a human unless you are trying to save another human's life.
Okay.
But that's not self-defense.
So let's continue the theme of like, them ending up on a milk carton. He invites them to enter his windowless hut.
His TARDIS.
Accessed by crawling through a small flap.
That's an inefficient way to enter a TARDIS.
It is. He removes his hat, and he also has round white ears. It's got 2 levels, and it says, quote, wallpapered in blue-green and covered with a pattern of dials.
I can't.
I'm trying to picture it.
I can picture it 2 ways in my head. Like a blue-green wallpaper that has like these circle patterns on
like
it, right?
Phone.
Which is just like, or I was thinking more like gauge dials or clock dials.
Yeah.
Or that's really what they could have been, would be like dials to indicate readings of some sort that are just all over the wall.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, blue-green, it could be different parts of the earth too. Like maybe
So you think they went into space?
maybe it was like a portal type.
They got TARDIS into space?
Maybe.
Dex.
I know. The first floor had less headroom than the ground floor with metallic flooring. Sam hinted that he also had a camp on the mainland, but didn't say where. So what do you think the mainland meant?
That would have been mainland England, I would assume.
Okay. When discussing his diet, basically all he ate were berries, and he would collect them just before sundown. I imagine trying to, stay away from people, stay hidden. The location of his scavenging wasn't disclosed. He also said that after cleaning, boiling, okay, he boiled them. He boiled the water to drink. So a possible explanation right here and the Bufora thing, a possible explanation could be that he was wearing some kind of protective mask and he was analyzing the berry when eating it to check if it wasn't poisonous.
That's good of an assessment as any, I suppose.
Yeah. So they conversed with him for 30 minutes or 30 more minutes after they went inside. And they said farewell and retreated back across the golf course. They told the first man that they saw a ghost, and he didn't believe them. According to Bufora, the children were truly convinced that they had encountered either a ghost or someone dressed up in a particularly odd costume. Either way, they were very much under the impression that their experience was genuine. So on June 2nd, 1973, 3 weeks after their conversation with Sam, Faye confided in their father, also known as Mr. Y, Nigel Billingsley Westwood III Wentworth, about their strange encounter. He commented on the detailed description of his daughter's experience, which he was able to briefly verify with the other kid, Bob, and how upset they were when he suggested that it wasn't truthful. So Mr. Y, Nigel, thought an explanation of Sam could be make-believe or a shared hallucination or a person dressed up to scare children. However, he felt a particular detail Faye gave about Sam only having 3 fingers and 3 toes on each hand and foot was decidedly too difficult for someone to convincingly fake. That's true. There was also an important detail that Mr. Y had his own bizarre experiences that made his daughter's tale to him more serious. That's why I told those.
You know, just as a parent, you know when your kids are lying to you. And when they're just kind of make-believing stuff. And in a situation like that, you might want to believe that they're just making up a story. Kids do that. They have imaginations.
I'd want to believe they made it up.
But if they stick to it like that, and like I said, you can tell when your kids are just telling tales, making shit up, using their imagination, lying, whatever. But if they're being honest, couple that with a strange experience in the same general area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to fuck with you, man.
Yeah. So he sympathized with his daughter's distress and considered how he could relate to his own experiences and how people wouldn't believe him.
Mm-hmm.
He also had his doubts that his daughter was lying from her genuine reactions.
Right. Her demeanor is going to tell you a lot.
And that's what he told Bufora. So this is what he says to Bufora. I get the impression that Faye was somehow taken into a bubble of alien reality created by the strange personage. And he told them he had just made the hut. Also, Faye told me that while they were talking to the ghost, 2 workmen nearby were repairing a post, and they paid no attention to the weird charade, as though they could not see it. So they just can't see it.
It does kind of track with like an extra dimensional type entity. Because as you're crossing through, I mean, theoretically, nobody really knows, right? But as you're crossing through, maybe you can still see out of the bubble. But the out can't see in.
And it said a windowless hut.
Could also be, if you get away from extra dimensional and go with extraterrestrial, cloaking technology could have created something akin to a bubble that if you're outside of it looking in, you don't see anything.
Yeah. So when Mr. Y, Nigel, visited the location of Sam's homestead, the creature's metal hut was nowhere to be found, likely confirming Mr. Y's own suspicion that his daughter was taken into a bubble of alien reality. Quote. Was there any connection between Sam and the UFO sightings of Mr. Y? He seems to suggest there may have been.
It's not an unfair assessment.
No. So, what actually happened? I did all the what at?
I love it that we're doing this together live and you actually see how often I push buttons and look at things.
I don't know what he's doing either, guys. Yeah. I'll wait until after the episode to dive into what all of those do. It goes without saying that the story surrounding Sam the Sandown Clown is a very strange one, and I don't really know what to believe, but it seems like they genuinely believed that it happened.
Yeah, if you take the story at face value, okay, something very, very strange happened.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. So let's picture Sam as an alien. Since Sam's story appeared in a UFO journal, this is the most straightforward way of classifying Sam. This also seems to be what Mr. Y is implying by tying Faye's interaction with Sam to his own UFO sightings.
So I'm going to counter that by saying, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So if you're talking to a UFO group, they are very obviously and naturally going to want to make everything an extraterrestrial.
And you go to the church, everything's a demon.
Precisely.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sam is a ghost. Faye and Bob were convinced Sam was some sort of wandering specter. When the children asked Sam if he was a ghost, he gave a very cryptic response as, well, not really, but I am in an odd sort of way.
See, and that answer to me, again, one man's opinion, would point more to an extra dimensional. Because if you think about it, like,
Try to explain that to children.
a ghost is from another dimension or a higher plane of existence, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So, in an odd sort of way, yeah, sure, he's a ghost.
And notice he's just using, like, smaller, cryptic words, like, not explaining too much, because do you really think two 7-year-olds are going to understand what you're saying if you're like, oh, yeah, I'm an extra dimensional paranormal being from beyond the stars.
Or again, prime directive. He's just maybe not allowed to tell them anything.
Yeah. Now let's go to the Yicky one. Sam is a human. Not to make it dark, but Sam's interest in the children and inviting them into his weird swampy shack thing sounds like it could be kidnapping attempt or worse. But the fact that the children didn't mention being held captive or feeling threatened, it makes it seem like it wasn't necessarily an encounter with malicious intent.
There's also the fact that the groundskeeper at the golf course, who, even if that, like his little shack or whatever, wasn't necessarily on the golf course, the groundskeeper at a golf course would have seen signs that something was going on in that area.
There was 2 people working on a fence post to where they could clearly have seen it.
That part I'm not going to count so much because they're new to the area. As far as they know, that little shack over there has been there forever. It's just a homeless guy that lives there. They're not worried about it.
Fair enough.
The groundskeeper, on the other hand, would know every inch of the ground of the golf course and would have noticed someone building a little hut or something, even nearby the golf course or moving to and from on the golf course. You know.
So, if Sam was a human, his strange appearance and mannerisms could very well have been linked to drug and alcohol abuse, mental health, or similar reasons. Children are likely able to conjure up bizarre descriptions of people that appear odd to them.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's not, and in all honesty, that is the simplest of explanations. But it doesn't feel right.
Right. Then we'll go Sam as a shared hallucination.
I don't believe in those.
No, but doctors do. Shared psychosis or shared delusional disorder. We don't know anything about these children, including their relationship to one of their brothers, or brother and sister. We don't know about their family lives, or we don't even know about the locals on the island. But if something traumatizing did occur to the children involving an adult that day, the children of Sam, or the character of Sam, might have been created as a coping mechanism.
Okay, I'm going to agree with that, but disagree with it at the same time. If something traumatic happened to the 2 children, would they perhaps both screen memory it with something? Sure. Would they screen memory it with the exact same story, though? I just don't think so.
No, and if the other one told them like what they thought happened, and the other one's like, oh yeah, let's go with that, they're gonna break. They're gonna like mess
eventually,
up details.
yes. 7 is not so young that in your adult life you wouldn't remember making up a story.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, eventually, you know. Yeah. The truth would come out, something, somewhere. There would be discrepancies in the story between the 2 of them, something.
Yeah. Then the boring one, Sam is a prank. Children get bored, and children, when they get bored, they make up stories to entertain themselves. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it.
Absolutely.
Children have vivid and wonderful imaginations, so this could have been a childish prank that Faye's father took seriously because of his own prior experiences. But the way he talks, like, they've stuck with the, as far as I could tell, they've always stuck with the story, and this is 50 years ago.
Right.
So they'd be 57, 58 right now.
Yeah. One of them would have told the truth by now.
Yeah, but they've stuck
That's
with
number
it.
1. Number 2, you know your kids. And I mean, I guess if you've had weird experiences, you might be more inclined to want to believe a weird story they tell you, but you still know your kids.
See, at that point, if you're going to want to believe a story after you've seen 2 UFOs, you're going to want to believe that it's an alien, which goes to like his alien bubble thing. Like, it never mentioned if he thought it was a demon or a ghost or whatever. He always said alien. That's why he contacted Buford in the first place. And I don't know, shared hallucinations, like, more often than not, if you have a traumatic experience, sure, there's going to be a little icing to where, like, it's something happened, but it's usually just like oh, well, we just went for a walk over here or something. It's not going to have that much detail. It really isn't. And especially in a half-hour time, they're not going to leave many details out.
Yeah, I think I get where you're coming from. I just think shared hallucination is just, maybe it does happen, but it gets put onto a lot of stories we cover. And I don't think it belongs anywhere above maybe 1%.
So they say if someone's prone to hallucinations, I read this when I was going through my shit.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's prone to hallucinations and someone else has like certain mental issues or health issues, they can share in hallucinations, yet they won't be the same hallucination.
And that's what I'm saying.
If it weren't the case, or if that were the case, with all your issues, I'm sure you would have hallucinated a couple of times around me. Because I hallucinate like a motherfucker.
Not prone to hallucinations.
I am. But like something that descriptive and that detailed.
But like you just said, they don't share the same hallucination.
No.
And these two kids have the same story.
Well, off the record, guys, I feel like if a doctor heard this story and talked to these kids, they're going to try to come up with something that makes sense.
Yeah.
And even if you haven't had an account, they're going to be like, well, it could happen. Because realistically, damn near anything can happen. Like a shared hallucination.
Fair.
Realistically, it could happen, but it's in the spectrum of like 1 in a billion chance, if not more.
Right.
So I want to say something genuinely happened. And I don't think it was someone dressed up because of the mannerisms. The fear of humans kind of adds something, but he said he wouldn't fight back. The craft, the metal shed thing. It's such weird descriptions in there that, like, I want to think the kids couldn't have made that up.
There's that. There's also where I get stuck on it being a person with a little shack built down there and whatever is that nobody else saw this guy running around in a clown outfit.
7 foot tall.
Right. That's where I get hung up on that.
6'4" is hard to miss. 7 foot tall. Damn near impossible to miss.
So.
Yeah, especially like the way it describes it is rolling green hills, some trees and bushes and stuff. This thing is paper white.
Yeah.
With like blue eyes.
Bright colored.
Blue gloves, yellow cowl, green. Yeah, like you're going to see something like that.
Yeah. And if you're building your little hut down by a river, people move along rivers. They go fishing under bridges.
And Shanklin Golf Course.
Right.
They're going to look for a ball. I hate losing balls.
Like, so somebody should have seen this guy.
Yeah.
If it was just a regular person. Or the hut or something. Even if he was real good at like staying stealthy, you can't hide your metal hut under the bridge.
No. Not unless you have certain... Yeah.
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 So yeah, I really don't know, but I feel like it wasn't just a creepy dude. Like a weird dude.
Yeah. And you don't think it was a shared hallucination.
Correct.
So what do you think it was?
Just given his answers, something extra dimensional.
With the code of codes that cannot say.
Correct.
Sam's a weird one.
It's definitely a weird one. As a one-off, there's very hard to explain, but...
And, like, not once did he seem to try to scare the kids.
Right.
Like, he just wanted to talk to them.
Like, who knows what he was doing here?
Once he said goodbye, or once they said goodbye, he was like, peace. So, I don't think he was dangerous.
I mean, apparently not.
I don't think he had any ill intent. Could have been lonely. Could have, like, wanted to tell him something.
Maybe his ship broke down.
Maybe. 2 years.
He was waiting for it to get repaired.
Yeah, he was waiting for the alien repairman.
I mean, AAA can take a while sometimes.
Fucking hey, they can. So that's Sam, the Sandown Clown.
That is Sam, the Sandown Clown. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we thank you so very much for coming and spending time with us here on the Paranatural Podcast. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to tell a friend. If you see this on YouTube or you're listening to this, give us a subscribe, give us a like, comment on some stuff. We'd really appreciate it. Other than that, remember that we love you. Good night.
Not good night yet. Thanks for listening, YouTubers, TikTokers, our normal listeners. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon and happy holidays. Good afternoon.